Welcome to a new Daily Top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
Do you think sex is necessary for a healthy relationship? Why or why not? Well, if one partner wants it and the other doesn't, then that will cause problems. Exactly. Further, both partners should communicate clearly what their frequency expectations are throughout the relationship. Otherwise, your long-term relationship reaches 10, 20, or 30 years, and the bedroom dies due to one side no longer wanting to have sex. It creates a lot of resentment and harsh feelings. Keyword being communication and telling your partner everything, even if it may hurt their feeling. It changes over time and your perception of what you want in 10 years is gonna be wrong. My hubby thought he'd always want to be at 3x a week. I thought it would slow down to 1x a week. Now he wants 1x a week and I want 5. You gotta continuously communicate. I would argue that you need to be sexually compatible. I don't know how outdated it is, but I always like the triangular theory of love, where full love is made up of 3 things: intimacy, like having a best friend you can share your deepest thoughts; passion, compatible sex drive; commitment, sticking around for each other for better or for worse. Passion, that might be a better word than sex. A romantic relationship has to have passion. How that passion is expressed must be compatible. Sex itself, no. Being sexually compatible, though, is necessary for a healthy relationship. There's a spectrum between asexual and hypersexual. People on opposite ends of the spectrum are probably going to struggle with their relationship. This happened in my last relationship. My previous partner came out as asexual after a year. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. It caused so many issues that sadly extended outside the bedroom. Frustration, inadequacy, poor communication, it was just sad. Currently with a person who is compatible with me and it's made a world of a difference. Being on the same page about sex is much more important than the sex itself, IMO. Sexual compatibility is absolutely necessary, yes. That can also mean not having sex if that's what both parties want. It can mean not having sex, but in 99% of the cases it means having some. Why do you feel the need to specify this? It depends on the relationship. Yeah, me and Dad are getting along just fine without it. Weird. Me and your dad can't get along without it. Sex itself isn't essential, but being sexually compatible is crucial for a healthy relationship. It's completely dependent on the person and the boundaries of the relationship. I personally couldn't be in a sexless relationship, but to each their own. Chris Rock said, if the relationship is going good, y'all should be fucking and traveling all the time. Kinda tracks. Why is traveling lumped in? Because rich people think the rest of us also have tons of money and free time. Depends. If you don't care about it, then no. If it is something you find important, yes. This describes everything in a healthy relationship. Sex, money, shrimp, communication. Shrimp. I simply cannot have a relationship without shrimp. I was going to mention that what matters isn't just having sex, but rather the compatibility in sexual matters. For sexual people it is necessary. When sex is not a concern, it's only 5%, but when it becomes relevant, it jumps to 95%. I would argue that healthy relationships usually also have sex, but there are always exceptions. I used to think sex was essential for a healthy relationship. But after being with my partner for years, I've learned that intimacy goes deeper. During times when we weren't as physically intimate, we focused on emotional support, communication, and being there for each other. It showed me that while sex is important, it's the emotional bond and mutual respect that truly keep us strong. Now, I believe a healthy relationship is built on understanding and connection, not just physical intimacy. Sex can enhance intimacy and connection, but it's not essential if both partners agree on its importance. Healthy relationships rely more on communication, trust, and emotional support. I think what sets apart a romantic relationship from all of our other relationships is sexual chemistry. It doesn't always have to be sex, but could be other ways of being intimate. There can be a struggle, as other people mentioned, if wants, needs aren't compatible. Ace person here in a sexless marriage, our physical intimacy is mostly just stuff like hugs, pecks on the lips and foot massages. The way I feel about my husband is still very firmly different from how I feel about other friends, family, no matter how close. Even today, after several years together, there are moments where he just does something that triggers a "that's the man I love" feeling. I don't mean things he does for me either. It can be the sound of his laugh when he finds something really funny, or even something most people would find annoying, like protesting a question at bar trivia. There's nothing sexual or even intimate about it, but it's 100% a feeling I've never experienced outside of a romantic relationship, and I can't really imagine anyone having it for someone other than a romantic interest, partner, or their child. There are other things too that are more specific to me. I tend to be very guarded and don't open up easily, but I find it very easy to do so with my husband. I'm introverted and get overwhelmed from being around people too much, but I can be with him constantly for weeks without feeling socially drained. If I'm upset and hug a friend or my parents, I may feel supported, but when I hug my husband, it's like this wave of comfort washes over me. So on and so forth, but the point is that, for me at least, even with sex out of the picture, there are a lot of things that make the nature of our relationship unique for me. And honestly, I have to imagine the same is true for people who aren't asexual. Sex is just the easiest thing to point to since it's more concrete than just vague feelings of love and comfort. That's really beautiful. I absolutely think it is necessary. I hate everyone that I'm not currently fucking. Grandfather enters room and grandson is calmed. I hate the people you're not fucking, too. Where do they get off? Well, not with you. Compatibility regarding intimacy is necessary for a healthy relationship, however that intimacy is expressed. No, being sexually compatible does not mean you have to actually have sex. Plenty of relationships out there that do just fine without it. It does need to be something all parties are okay with, though. Sex no, sexually compatible yes. Yes, because it's the major cause of many divorces. It's mental cartilage that creates a chemical bond between humans. Just understand that I'm not saying sex should be in all relationships, but if you're legal and have been having sex, then stopping will likely cause problems, or is just a symptom of problems already present. It's the main cause of divorce, let's be honest here. Reddit is acting like that's not the case. Sex isn't the only physical intimacy that can cause a chemical bond. I think it develops confidence within relationships. Our hormones affect a good portion of our lives. If your partner is satisfied sexually, you both have no necessity to appease a craving, per se, somewhere else. You just ravage partner. Absolutely depends. Two asexual people could be in a completely healthy relationship and never have sex. My friend and her husband are completely asexual and are happy and thriving. It's only a problem if one wants it and the other doesn't. Sex isn't inherently necessary for every healthy relationship, but it can be an important aspect for many couples in terms of intimacy and connection. Each relationship's dynamics and what constitutes healthy can vary widely. I wouldn't say that it's needed, but everyone needs to be on the same page for what they want. It just makes everyone miserable if you're incompatible. I don't think it is necessary. I personally love my wife so much, and I truly enjoy the sexual aspect of our relationship, but if something happened to where we couldn't have sex, I would still love her just as much. It would not destroy what we have. This is the same with my husband and I. He's the love of my life and vice versa. We don't have sex often due to having little kids and me being in PA school, but when it happens we make it count. Plus me being on meds doesn't help my libido. But we both are okay with it, and are very much happy and in love. However, when we are on vacation without kids, there's tons of sex lol. Sex in a relationship is like a bathroom in a house. An amazing house can be ruined by having terrible bathrooms, and nice bathrooms can go a long way to make a terrible house work, for better or for worse. But most important is that everyone living in the house is okay with the bathroom situation going on. Depends on the relationship. Some couples need it and some don't. Neither is lesser or better than the other, it's just important that all parties are on the same page about it. No, not inherently. There's some elderly people, disabled people, asexual people, etc. who have relationships, but can't have sex or are uninterested in it. That being said, for some people having sex is a deal breaker and necessary. There are people where it isn't an issue, though. When it's good, it is 10% of a relationship. When it's bad, it is 90%. Yes, it's important that you are on the same page. I've been married to the woman I love more than anything, to my best friend and person I want to spend every day with, for 34 years. Sex is a bonus. What makes a long-lasting relationship is loving, liking, respecting and wanting to be with each other. Our sex life died more than 20 years ago. My wife wasn't enjoying it, it was painful to her, and one thing I don't like doing is causing my wife pain. I love her way too much to hurt her. If we're talking in generalities, absolutely. Of course, there are exceptions, but money and intimacy, or lack thereof, are the two biggest relationship killers. Sex is a shared intimate experience. In many ways, it's the act that separates that relationship from the rest of the ones you have, unless you're poly, and most are not. The same view on sex is more important than the actual sex. Sex fiend here. No, it doesn't, as much as I hate saying it. It needs to happen to a degree, but you should prioritize communication and intimacy, sex if available, but cuddle and play around and just basically have physical intimacy. And to justify my stance, what if you fall madly in love with a rape victim who is your ideal and makes you happier than anything? But they cannot handle having sex, for obvious reasons. Weigh it up, masturbation is a thing you know. However, if they can never handle being touched, your relationship will fail, because there isn't a trusting bond. There is a wall between you. And sadly it will cripple the relationship. Nothing is necessary for a healthy relationship. If two people who don't want to have sex get in a relationship, then obviously it isn't necessary. There are many different people out there, in their own personal version of a relationship, so these overly broad questions don't make sense to begin with. I couldn't imagine being in a sexless relationship. There's a spectrum between asexual and hypersexual. People on opposite ends of the spectrum are probably going to struggle with their relationship. Not necessarily, even someone that is extreme can ruin someone who falls in the normal, average range. My partner was so persistent and would pressure me without showing me any other type of affection. They would physically pressure me or become upset with me if I didn't give in. It killed the drive I had. I don't think I can ever enjoy that again. I see most men only care about sex, it all feels pointless now. To make matters worse, I can't define what happened because it's not like they were a stranger, therefore my pain shouldn't feel real, but it does. Valid point, I'm sorry that happened to you.